So very good evening, guys. लवकर येत चला रे सगळे. Okay, so today I am not going to wait for anyone. Let's start. So very good evening and welcome to Unacademy. Today we are going to discuss about the plant-water relation, how actually water moves through the body of a plant. Okay. So we are here on the Crack Maharashtra CET channel. If you do not subscribe this channel still, please subscribe it. So you will have a different type of lecture per day. Okay, so it is just for the CET. So the each and every lecture is a lecture of your interest. Okay, so please subscribe this channel. So before starting the lecture, it is very necessary to know about me. This is Abhijit Madkar. I have more than 6 year of experience in biology. I also cracked NET CSIR examination in December 2016 with all India rank 60 from the life science. So this is the India's largest platform. We call it Unacademy or Unbeatable Academy. Okay, so people call it Unbeatable. So you can also say. So guys, if you want to be a part of this India's largest platform, it is necessary to install this app in your mobile. Okay, so this app is available on App Store. It is necessary to become a part of this Unacademy. Okay. So this is a Telegram app. If you do not have join this Telegram channel, so please join it. So this channel is required for daily updates of lectures, a time of lecture, then topic, then subject. So this type of daily updates you will have on this lecture. So guys, if you do not have Telegram app, first install it and then type this URL in a search box and then click on a join, which is here on the bottom of the screen. Okay, so those who are new, okay, we have this type of facility for you. Okay, so guys, these are the types of a subscription you can take for the limited time or the as per the age or the your class. Okay, so if you are in 11th, I will recommend you to take a subscription of 24 month. It is for 24,000. If you add this magic code at the time of subscription, it will be 21,000 for you. And if you are in a 12th, I will recommend you this 12-month subscription. The fees for 12 month is 16,500. But if you add or if you take it with this code Abhijit, so the fees will be only 14,850 rupees. Okay, if you are already completed your 12th, so fees for 1 month is 1,499 rupees with this code Abhijit. Otherwise, the fees is 3,000 uh, per month. Okay, so these are the different type of subscription which will give you the unlimited use of this app. Okay, so you can download and see the lecture offline. You will also have the opportunity to attempt or to arrange the dedicated doubt session with your favorite educator, and MCQs practice is also available there with a different type of a test. Okay, so this is unlimited use of the subscription. If you take a subscription, you can use it by a different way. Okay, so let's start with the plant water relation part 2. Okay, so guys, in part 1 we already say what is meant by diffusion, what is meant by osmosis. Okay, then osmotic pressure, then turgor pressure, okay, then wall pressure, then DPD. So this type of the concept which are very necessary to understand what is actually going on inside of the plant when water is moved from one part of a plant to the another part. Okay, so very good evening, Neha. Okay, so you do not attend the last lecture. I know you was there. You already attended the last lecture, part 1 of the plant water relation. Okay, So guys, let's concentrate on the second part now. What is actually this concept help in the movement of water from the root to the leaf of a plant? Okay, so how this water move opposite to the gravity? It is opposite to the gravity. Okay, and it do not have any heart like a pump there. Okay, so it's without pumping action. So how it is possible? If you see in our body, animal heart, it's a heart. Okay, as a pump. So here this pumping action will increase the rate of flow, or you can say the pressure generated, which is the cause of the movement of the blood or the liquid inside of the body. But now plant do not have any heart or pump. So how can the water move from the root to leaf? Okay, so it is completely opposite to the gravity. How it is possible? Let's see, guys. Let's start from the very basic part. Which region is involved in the absorption? Okay, so the uh, if you say the root of a plant, the detailed structure of root is looks like this. Okay, so these are the different type of regions. Here is the your meristematic tissue, we call it. If you are you was present in the last lecture, very good evening, Snehal, very good evening. Okay, so if you are present in the last lecture about your plant tissue, so you know which tissues are present here at the bottom of a cap. Okay, and here is a elongation region. So this region is responsible for the growth of or the length of a root. So here is a region. Okay, we are interested in. So this here like a projection, we called it a root here. We called it a root here. So this root here are responsible for the absorption of water. So these root here are the part which are the absorption of water. So guys, this root here not made up of the many cells or what, they are just unicellular in nature. Okay, so if I zoom this structure of a single root here, it will look like this. For example, this is a part of your root. Okay, so this is a root. Okay, it's a root cap here, and this is a root. Now let's see how your root here placed inside of the plant. Okay, so a root here cell is like this. Okay, so here is a nucleus and the vacuole from here to the most of the part of the cell, and the remaining portion is absorptive in the nature. Okay, so if you see the cell wall, it required a very a thin cell wall, otherwise the movement of water or the many things which is responsible for the function of a cell will harm. Okay, so that's why let's see the property of this root cell. A region of root here is involved in the absorption of water. Okay, so this root here is involved in the absorption of water. Root here are the extensions of epidermal cell called epiblema. So this type of cells we call it epiblema. Okay, so your epidermal cell which is responsible for the formation of root hair, the second name for this layer is epiderma. Root hair is a unicellular structure, so I already draw here, and I already told you here it's a unicellular structure. Cell wall of root hair is made up of cellulose and pectin. Both are strongly hydrophobic, so that's why they are here inside of the uh, cell wall. Okay, so they are hydrophilic in nature. Okay, so it's a mistake from me, guys. The cellulose and pectin are the hydrophilic in nature. Okay, so please write here hydrophilic. Okay, it's a mistake when I was in typing. So it's a strongly hydrophilic. This material is a strongly hydrophilic and it is involved in the absorption of water. Okay, so because of the hydrophilic cell wall, the water is automatically absorbed toward the uh, cell, and it just take a water inside of the cell. Okay, so cell wall is a freely permeable to the solute and water. Okay, so the two things they can absorb, one is a solute and second is water. Okay, so here a root here is involved in the absorption of water. It is unicellular, and the cell which are responsible for the formation of root here, we call it epiblema. A root here cell wall is made up of cellulose and pectin. Both are the strongly hydrophilic, so they absorb water, and the cell wall is freely permeable for the water and the solute, which is also coming inside, or the which is also entering inside of the root here. Okay, so these are the properties which are necessary to understand how the water is enter inside of the cell. Okay, so the way of absorption of water, so we have two way of absorption. One is a passive and second is active. Okay, so before starting the active, let's see what is meant by a passive absorption of water. Okay, so guys, whenever you see this word passive in biology, so it's about the without energy or without ATP, not energy, without ATP. So it doesn't require any ATP. And if you are talking about the active, it required ATP for the ATP for the that particular thing, or they mostly transport. Okay, so active and passive is always used for the transport system. If it is a passive transport, so absolutely it is without energy, or without not energy, guys, without ATP energy. Okay, there is always energy. We know that diffusion pressure is act as energy if there is a passive absorption. Okay, and when it is active, definitely it is opposite to the gradation. Okay, concentration gradation, and it required ATP for the movement. Okay, so in this method, leaf of a plant lose water due to the transpiration, which develops a water deficit, and draw water from the petiole, which suck water from the stem, and stem from the root. Okay, so actually what is it? Let's see. Okay, let's draw it first. So for example, this is a plant. Okay, so we have a beautiful flower on the plant here. Okay, so the a typical design I am going to draw here. So the single this slide or the diagram will explain the everything about the plant order relation and the most of the part of a plant order relation. Okay, so let's say the leaf structure, which is a green in a color. Okay, so these are the leaves. Okay, so leaves, we know they are involved in the uh, photosynthesis, and they absorb a light and convert it into a glucose, or the you can say a food. Okay, so these are the leaf which is involved in the photosynthesis and absorbing uh, water and the light to synthesize the food. Okay, so guys, let's see what happened. The leaf which lose a water. What is meant by losing a water? Because of sunlight which is coming and making a contact with a leaf will result in a increase in a temperature. Okay, so the temperature of your leaf is now going to increase, and because of that, the water which is available in a liquid form now convert itself into a vapor form, and this vapor form at the point where there is a hole at the leaf. Okay, so let's zoom this part of a leaf. It will looks like one cell here, second cell. Okay, here is a gap of a cell, and I am at the corner. I am drawing just a corner of a leaf. Okay, so this is how the cell of a leaf looks like. Okay, and here is your different type of cell, mesophyll cell and other stuff is here inside of the leaf, and this is your leaf. Okay, so it's a structure of a leaf actually, age of a leaf. So what happened, because of high temperature, the water which is moving from the leaf uh, convert itself into a vapor, and it is now going to lose the yes leaf in the form of vapor. Okay, so because of the water which is moving out of the leaf, what happened, it creates a suction pressure here. Okay, that means here is now less water, and that's why this part absorb water from the a part of the remaining or the bottom part of the leaf, and slowly if you see the water is absorbing from your petiole. Petiole means a stack of a leaf. Okay, so this is a petiole. Okay, so for example, the process of what I draw here is, for example, a part which is conducting here also because of light, water is moving out of the leaf. Okay, so at that time, what happened? This suction pressure, which is here, so it is now absorbing water from the bottom part. So it is absorbing from bottom part. So the suction pressure is now moving. This water sac is moving toward the bottom of plant, and slowly it will move toward the direct the bottom or the root of a plant. Okay, so here is a root system of a plant. So this suction pressure slowly moves toward the root of a plant, and that's why this suction pressure at the root, what happened, so it is come to the root, and here is a root. Okay, and this is a soil here at the side of the root. So this suction pressure allow this root to absorb the water from the soil or the between the particle of a soil. Okay, so this root, this pressure or this suction pressure actually generated at the top of a plant, but with respect to time or the step by step, it is moving toward the bottom of a plant. Okay, so guys, is there really any problem with the screen? Is it clear? I think you have a problem of a connection. Okay, so because I can see here, it's a good, this plant is also looks like a very beautiful in my screen. Okay, yes, yes, okay, no problem, no problem guys. So let's see. The suction force from a leaf act on the root and root cell, just provide the surface for the absorption of water and do not require energy, so called passive. Okay, so this pressure or the succession force which is moving from the leaf to the direct a route, and it does not require any ATP in this pathway, and this route also not going to absorb or they not required any ATP to absorb the water. It is just provide surface for the absorption, and the force for the absorption or the energy for the absorption is automatically generated because of the moving water out of the plant in the form of vapor. So this type of vapor or the loss of water, we call it a transpiration. Okay, so we will discuss it at the next slide. So now let's see the second way of absorption of water is active transport. Okay, so here is your active absorption. Okay, so active absorption always required ATP to complete. Okay, so guys, here what happened, it is by osmosis water enters the root here. Okay, so what is it, it is by osmosis water enters into the root here. So here is your root here. Okay, and water is now moving inside of the root here because of osmosis. From root here to cortical cell, and from one cortical to another cortical cell, a gradient of water potential. Okay, so there is a formation of gradient water potential. So water will move from one cell to the another cell, from this cell to this cell. So it is moving uh, toward the part which is going at the top side of the plant. Okay, so this is how it one by one it is moving, because what happens guys, when water is enter into the uh, a root cell or the first hair cell, there is a more turgor pressure inside of the first cell, so it applies this pressure on the second cell, and second cell absorb this water. Okay, so this cell can donate water to the cell which is at the behind of the cell because of the turgor pressure, and this pressure will increases uh, in this direction, and it will move toward the height or the heighted part of a plant. Osmotic pressure of root cell is higher than the soil. Okay, so the osmotic pressure of cell or root here is higher than the soil. For example, this is a here. Okay, so it's a root here, and here is a soil. So what is meant by osmotic pressure and what is meant by high? Okay, so let's see. So water enter the root here by osmosis, therefore called osmotic mechanism of water absorption. Okay, water enter into the root here, a DPD means diffusion pressure deficit become a zero, but DPD of inner cell is higher, so water enter there in a cortical or the cortical cells by osmosis. It also become turgid, and water enter into the inner cell having a high DPD. It maintain high osmotic pressure, required energy, so called active transport of water. Okay, so the first cell, now let's see, I'm going to draw a new diagram here. Okay, so let's see what happened guys inside of the plant body. So this is a root cell. Okay, so first cell we call it a root hair cell. Okay, so this is a root hair cell, and here are the different type of cells behind of the root hair. Okay, so the first cell which is going to absorb the water is this root hair cell. Okay, so what happened, the osmotic pressure of this cell is more than the soil. That means it already accumulate a more number of solute as compared to the soil. Okay, भरपूर salt तयार करून ठेवते स्वतःकडे, and this required or the this facility of having a more salt or the uh, accumulation of a more salt required energy, and that's why we called it active transport. Why it is active? Because it required energy to maintain the high osmotic pressure inside. So this water is now moving into the water which is at the uh, this water is moving into the cell which is at the uh, bottom or at the contact in the contact with a root here, because here now a more number of water molecules are there inside of the cell. So this water molecule, the number of water molecule are larger as compared to the number of water molecule in this cell. So water automatically enter here because of the difference in a DPD. Okay, diffusion pressure deficit. It's a difference in a diffusion pressure between two cells. So this cell has less water as compared to this cell. So because of that, water is now moving entering into this cell. So now this cell again has less water. So here, so less water. So here, and in this way, water is moving toward the top of the plant. But here in the, any process, there is no requirement of ATP. But if you see the first cell, which is want to be a high osmotic pressure inside of a cell as compared to the soil, so that time we required energy here, and because of that we called it active transport of water. So what we call it active? It required ATP. Okay, what is the main difference between active and passive absorption? Okay, very good question. So let's see what is the main difference. So I'm going to write here it's a passive on this side and active on this side. Okay, so it's without energy, without ATP energy, and it required ATP. ATP. It is driven by the osmotic pressure or diffusion pressure, or you can say because of concentration gradient. Okay, so driven by the concentration gradient. Okay, and it is driven by or the opposite to the concentration gradient. You can say it's opposite to concentration gradient, and that's why it required ATP, because of it is going to move opposite in the concentration gradient. Okay, so this is the main difference between active and passive. Are you getting my point? Okay, so let's see what happened next. So the now water is enter into the root here. Okay, but from root here to xylem. Okay, so root here to xylem. Water want to enter into the xylem, and this the way by which water is moving, we call it a path of water. And so the path of water may be apoplastic or symplastic. Okay, let's see what is apoplastic. So movement of water molecule takes place from the dead part of a plant like a cell wall and other intercellular space. Okay, so we know that there is intercellular space between the two cell in uh, a plant body, and this space is occupied the different type of material or the matrix, but it is not a living part, so it is also a dead part. Our cell wall of a plant is also a dead. So when water enter into the hair cell donate this water to the back side of the cell, and if you see here this red line of water is moving from the only dead part. Okay, only dead part till the endodermis. Okay, till endodermis. After endodermis, this pathway will not going to work. And the very good example here, you can see the bluish color here at the slide. Okay, so why this is bluish color? Because this is bluish color is represent that here is a second pathway which is moving from the living pathway. Okay, so living areas of a plant, so this is dead area. So apoplastic means what, guys? The water will move from the dead part of a plant. Movement is a non-osmotic and occur due to the imbibition. What is meant by imbibition? Imbibition means absorption of water molecule due to the nature of object or the chemical, due to the hydrophilic nature of a substance. Okay, due to the hydrophilic nature of substance. Okay, so in last part we already discussed imbibition in sorry, yes, we already discussed imbibition in first part of our plant water relation. Yes, I discussed. Okay, I remember that I discussed it. So imbibition means absorption. So this osmotic non-osmotic absorption of water is due to the only cell wall like component which are going to absorb the water, and it is moved from the cell wall to the cell wall of another cell, and by the only dead part, and not going to move from the living part or the cytoplasm of a cell. Okay, cytoplasm मध्ये एंटर करत नाही, फक्त डेड पार्ट मधून वॉटर मुवमेंट होते. So that's why we called it apoplastic. Okay, apoplast pathway or apoplastic movement of water. Okay, let's see the second one. Second one is a symplastic movement of water. So in this movement, the water, the see this second line, a bluish line, uh, the complete path of water is from the living pathway. Okay, so the complete part of movement of water is from the living pathway, and if you see the uh, second one, that is first one here, apoplastic. So in apoplast, water is moving from the dead part or between the two cell and only cell wall, not going to enter into the any cytoplasmic area or the another area. Here, yes, Tejas, it's for MSTCET. Okay, so water travel from cell to cell from plasmodesmata. So what is meant by plasmodesmata? It is just joined between two cells. Okay, for example, this is a plant cell, and here is a second one. I am not going to draw any cell wall here. Okay, so single cell wall. So these cells are connected to each other by the a bridge of a protein. We call it a plasmodesmata. Here, by the plasmodesmata, cell can exchange anything with the second cell. Okay, so cell are in a plant connected by each other by a plasmodesmata. Plasmodesmata is a cytoplasmic bridge which connect the cytoplasm, and we call it a symplast. Okay, so we have a symplast through this plasmodesmata. Endodermal cell contain a Casparian strip made up of the suberin. That's a wax-like structure. So here is your endodermal cell, and a part of a cell or the diagram which is shown by the red color or the red dotted line in the endodermal cell or endodermis layer. So you can see this part is zoom in this diagram. Okay, so this red color part is called as Casparian strip. Casparian strip. Okay, so this Casparian strip is made up of the wax material, or you can say it's a suberin. Directly, you can write it like a suberin. Okay, so it's a suberin. It's a wax-like material. Okay, so wax from this name we can understand it's a hydrophobic in nature. So it is not going to allow this water to move from this side to this side directly because of this wall which is hydrophobic in nature. Okay, so because of that, what happened? There it create a hydrostatic pressure. Okay, so water come and hold itself in this part. So there is a more water in this part because of the further path of water is blocked by the Casparian strip. Okay, then endodermis with a passage cell which is a knot. So passage cell, there are few passage cell you can see here. Here is a direct path. So in this passage cell, suberin is not present, and they allow water, and this water is always came into the endodermis very close to the xylem. Okay, and automatically enter inside of the xylem. Okay, so it is just because of the uh, hydrostatic pressure which is synthesized or which is generated behind the endodermis because of the Casparian strip, and it will allow the water to enter into the xylem directly. Okay, so in this pathway, the each and every molecule of water or the each and every time water moves from the living part, and we call it a symplastic pathway or symplast pathway of movement of water. Okay, so guys, let's see, there was two pathway. One is apoplast and second is a symplast. We already completed with apoplast, and now this is a symplast. Let's see what is next. It's ascent of a slab. Okay, so what is meant by ascent of a slab? First of all, let's see what is a sap. Sap is a liquid or the water in a plant body. Okay, so water in a plant body is always in the form of water and minerals which is involved in the water. So here is a mineral in water. So you can say it's a weak solution or mild solution of the minerals and this mild solution of mineral is called as the sap. Okay, so water present in a plant body is a form of a weak solution of minerals and a salt, so we call it a sap. Okay, so what is meant by ascent of a sap? So the upper movement of water from root to the leaf is called as a translocation of water, or the second name is ascent of a sap. Okay, so the second name is a translocation of translocation of water. Okay, so translocation of water through the conduction element of a xylem. So xylem, we know that they are made up of four different parts. We already discussed in the uh, plant tissue. Okay, so if you do not have any idea about the plant tissue, please revise my lecture. Okay, it is available on the YouTube. So if you see the plant tissue, you will definitely got idea about the element of xylems, and this element of xylem will involve in the movement of water from the part of a plant to the second part of a plant. How it happen is explained by two different theories. One is a root pressure and second is a gradation. Okay, so these are the two concepts which can explain us how the water translocate from the root to the uh, top of the plant without any pump inside of the plant. Okay, so without pump, how it is work? So let's see what is the root pressure. Water continuously enter into the root by the osmosis cause the pressure inside of the plant called root pressure. Okay, so for example, this is a root. Okay, water is moving continuously inside of the root, so there is more water molecules inside of the root. Okay, or this part which is close to the part of your water absorbing cell, that is root here. So because of that, here is more water inside of the uh, root of a plant, and this cell which is at the edge of the plant root, which is not allowed water to move out of the body, so the water automatically move toward the second option, which is upper side of a plant. Okay, so the root pressure is a cause of the exudation or the bleeding. Okay, so what is meant by exudation or the bleeding? For example, let's say a small plant which is living on the earth. So if you cut this plant from here, if I cut this plant from here, so if I cut this plant from here, so after a time, I can see there is water coming from this part, a cut part, and moving out of the plant body. That means a continuous pressure which is working on the root and allowing water to move in a forward direction, and this a movement of water, or this water coming out when you cut the stem of water, so this phenomenon is called as exudation, or sometimes we call it a bleeding. Okay, bleeding of plant. So actively absorbed minerals are accumulated in a cortical cell, which result in entry of water by osmosis. Okay, so I already explained. So these cells, which is very close to the surface of a plant, having more minerals inside. So what happen? Due to the more mineral, this water is now moving out of the cell, but cell do not allow this water to move out of the cell, and the result is movement of water inside of the cell. So this is a beauty of a plant having more water. If it required more water, it will manage the more osmotic pressure inside of the root. Okay, let's see. In most of the plant, root pressure is about 1 to 2 atmosphere. Okay, so this ATM is stands for the atmosphere. So it is about 1 or 2 atmosphere. So it provide a push in overall process, and transpiration pull plays a major role in the ascent of cell. Okay, so what happened due to the 1 to 2 atmospheric pressure, the water is pushed toward the upper part of a body, or the upper part of a plant, and transpiration pull it. Okay, so transpiration pull it toward itself, and that's why water move with the two different forces. One is a pushing force and one is a pulling force. The pushing force is provided by your root pressure, and pulling force is provided by the transpiration pull. Okay, so let's see what is meant by guttation. So this is a phenomenon of removal of water in the form of a drop from the a different part of a plant. Form of the drop means it's a liquid. Okay, so in the you already see this diagram, I know that. So for example, this is the blade of a grass. Okay, so on this blade of a grass, if you see in the morning, so there is water. Okay, looks like a bulb or the lightning on this when if you see it at the very first kiran of sun. Okay, so this water is because of the two reasons. One is a condensation of a steam or the vapor in environment or in air, and the second one is a guttation when the cell which is very close to the edge of the blade, so this cell sometime having more water inside, and because of that this water is leaving the cell at the night and enter into the uh, a part which is environmental or come out of the plant. Yes, most of the time dew drops are the result of guttation. It is result of both. Okay, it is result of both. One is a condensation of a vapor in the air, and the second one is a guttation. Okay, so in humid environment, when a transpiration rate is a low and active reabsorption or active absorption of water is a high, so it will happen. So if you want to see a guttation, it required a humid environment. Okay, so that means a more humidity in environment, and when in that humidity, sorry, in that humidity a transpiration is a low and the water active absorption of water is a more, that time you can see it's a guttation. Okay, hydatodes, these are the gland which are actually involved in the guttation, and this gland can be called chalk gland. Okay, so what happen guys, uh, when this type of water come out of the cell, we already discussed about the sap. So what is sap? It is a mild liquid, contains salt and the minerals. Okay. So what happens when this water moves out of the plant body due to the high heat? It evaporates and there is white crust. Okay. At the point where the water was placed. Okay. म्हणजे पांढरी जागा उमटते जिथे एन्झाईम होतो तिथे, and this because of this a whitish color, it looks like secreting a chalk, or it is drawing something on a plant, and so scientists call it chalk gland. Okay, so it's a chalk gland. So this is your chalk gland, hydatodes. Okay, so let's see guys, cohesion tension theory. So we are now at the end part of our chapter. Okay, so here is only two theories or the two things, two three things to discuss about the movement of water into the upper direction. Okay, so this is a cohesion theory which is proposed by the Joly and Dixon in 1894. So this is most accepted theory guys. If you see the explanation, it's a beautiful. Okay, so the beautiful explanation given by the Dixon and Joly was the most famous uh, theory which explains how actually the water moves throughout the body of a plant. Okay, so this theory is based on the cohesion, adhesion, and transpiration pull. Okay, so what is meant by cohesion of water? So cohesion word is used when there is attraction between the similar molecule or like we said, like always, like the likes. Okay, so it's a movement of water toward the molecule of water. So it looks like this. Okay, so let's see, guys. In this diagram, you can see these waters are bounded to each other by a hydrogen bond. Okay, so they can attract themselves toward, and this hydrogen bond is formed when, let's see, here is water, so not oxygen. Actually, I want to connect this to the hydrogen. Okay, so I mistakenly connected to the oxygen. So in this attraction, what happened? Why hydrogen bond is formed? When hydrogen come between the two electronegative component. Okay, so for example, here is one electronegative and here is one electronegative, a strong electronegative uh, element is present. That time hydrogen makes a bond between both molecule, and so this bond is called as hydrogen bond. These bonds are very weak. So these are the very weak bond, or you can say it is a weakest bond in the world. Okay, so this weak bond present in crores of number. Okay, so there is a more number, so it apply or it holds the more than sufficient water by the hydrogen bonding. So this bonding or this hydrogen bonding shown by the water. Because of that, water shows a strong mutual attraction. Okay, so this water molecule is strongly attracted toward this molecule, this is strongly attracted toward this. So there is a strong mutual attraction between the water, and because of that, water hold itself in the queue. Okay, so water can hold itself in the queue now, like this. Okay, okay, Elahi, sure, I will. So because of a water molecule, they are connecting to each other, or they shows a strong mutual attraction. They attract each other, and they form a continuous structure, or the continuous chain of water molecule. Okay, so let's see how it looks like in the form of cartoon diagram. Okay, so for example, this is water molecule which is attracted to this. So they are now connecting to each other, and because of that, they can form the a chain or the column like a structure in a plant. Okay, so magnitude of cohesive force is found more than 350 atmosphere. Okay, so this cohesive force is so strong, the attraction between water, the attraction between two water molecule in the a cohesion force, or if you see the cohesion force or the attraction between two water molecule toward each other is so strong, it will found there is a 350 atmospheric pressure which is generated because of this cohesive force. Okay, so what is the question? Sir, neat questions are repeated in MSTCET or not? Okay, so Adnan, uh, NEET questions or the questions from the NEET examination will never repeat into the CET. Okay, CET never repeat the questions, only the concept will repeat. Okay, there are very few questions in the CET examination or the any NEET examination, so they are repeated. Actually, they are not, these examinations are never allowed the repeated questions. Okay, so the one or two question, if these two question repeats, so it will not a bigger deal for us. Okay, so एक दो क्वेश्चन से कुछ नहीं होगा, और उससे ज्यादा कोई क्वेश्चन रिपीट नहीं होगा, कम ज्यादा से ज्यादा एक क्वेश्चन रिपीट होगा, एक या फिर बहुत हो गया तो दो, दो क्वेश्चन से ज्यादा भी कोई क्वेश्चन रिपीट नहीं होते, और रिपीट भी मतलब सेम नहीं होता, कुछ ना कुछ ग्रामेटिकली चेंज होता है, कभी कभी तो पॉजिटिव का निगेटिव, निगेटिव का पॉजिटिव करके पूछते हैं. सो देयर इज नो चांसेस ऑफ रिपीटेशन ऑफ एनी क्वेश्चन, सो यू डू नॉट live in the clear as that the question will be repeat and I will have answer of that question, definitely not. Okay, so it is maintained continuous water column in the tall plant. So what happen? This water is absorbing this water, and these are the water molecule which are going to absorb each other. And because of that, what happen? They are maintaining the water column inside of the tall plant. Okay. So let's say the adhesion of water. So adhesion means attraction between two dissimilar molecules. Okay, now we already discussed about the attraction between a water molecule. It will causes the streamline or the column of water like this because of the cohesive force. Now let's see, here is a plant of sorry, here is a wall of a xylem or the tracheids by which the water is moving. Okay, so here is how the water molecules are forming a chain, and they are also joined to the wall of xylem, and because of that they are not going to fall down, and it will again provide a 20 atmospheric pressure or the 20 atmospheric tension to maintain the column of water which is synthesized by a different concept. They come together and they form a continuous column of water. Okay, so let's see guys how this column of water is synthesized and how actually the water move from the body of a plant. So this is a two pathway by which water is entering. One is apoplastic, second is symplastic. So it is moving. This red color is moving in the living part, from the living part. So we can say it's a symplastic and it's a apoplast pathway. Okay, in a blue color here. Okay. So finally the water enters into the xylem. This is a xylem vessel, and water enter into the xylem by the Casparian strip or by crossing. Let's say here are few cells which do not have a Casparian strip, and because of that a cell water pass this line of hydrophobic cell and enter into the xylem, and now it is moving toward the xylem. Okay, so why it is moving? Because there is a pressure a difference between two things. Here is a more pressure and here is a less pressure. So high pressure to low pressure water is moving. Why here is a low pressure? Because S2 is removed or coming out of the plant body because of because of high heat. Okay, so it is coming out of the plant body because of high heat, and due to this a leaving of water in the form of vapor, which again causes a pressure, suction pressure here, which suck water from here. Then this pressure is came here, and the water is moving toward the upper part, and finally it is absorbed from the soil. Okay, so this is how the transpiration pull also work, and it generate a 20 atmosphere in the plant due to the transpiration pull. Okay, so this theory is completely depending upon the cohesion, adhesion, second thing, and the transpiration pool, third thing. This theory is given by the Jolly and Dixon in 1894. Okay, लिहून ठेवायचं हे तुमच्याकडे असलंच पाहिजे, तुम्हाला माहित असलं पाहिजे. Okay, so guys, this was all about the movement of plant, or the movement of sorry, not plant, movement of the water through the body of a plant. Okay, so the complete process, if you see, the transpiration pool is a passive process, and living root cell do not take part actively inside of the cohesive tension theory, and that's why people more agree with this theory, because as per the people they said plant do not require any water molecule, sorry, any ATP or the more ATP to conduct the water molecule. Okay, so this theory is more accepted because of this smaller things which is included inside of the theory. Okay, so thank you very much guys. Thank you for being on a time for my lecture. Okay, is there anything? Please ask me. So tomorrow we will have next two sessions. So at the first session tomorrow at the morning, we will going to discuss about the excretion and osmoregulation, and in that topic we will discuss how the urine formation is controlled by the different hormone and the different part of a body. Okay, so see you there, guys. If you do not subscribe, still please subscribe our channel. It is necessary for your the updates and the different notifications to you. So guys, if you do not join till this channel of a Telegram, please join us. Okay, and if you like my lectures, please hit on a like button. Thank you very much.